Here's the real reason why the Mets did this. Tyler Rogers, of course, is a New York Met, which is huge for the bullpen, but fans are worried about how much he cost and what we gave up in this deal, which is exactly what we're going to go over in this reaction video, only here on Mets Digest. I'm your host today, Mike Duda. We're going to talk Tyler Rogers, we'll talk the deal, I'll give you my reactions and more, but first we got to talk about some subscribers, and that being the fact that 69.9% of you that watch these videos aren't one. So please do me a favor, do us a favor here at Mets Digest, and hit that free subscribe button. That way we can bring content to you about the amazing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in. And if you haven't already, go ahead and check out Adam's video from last night titled Breaking. The Mets have made a big trade. This has serious implications. He talked about the trade when it happened. He gave his reaction. He gave a lot of other fan reactions and dove into the trade, as today's video is going to be focused on my reaction as well as a very in-depth dive on everyone involved in the trade that you see on your screen. Now, fun note before we get into this, the Mets of course received Tyler Rogers. He has a brother in the MLB, Taylor. He was also traded yesterday as part of the Cabrian Hayes deal, and yes, they have played together formerly on the Giants, but we are going to focus solely on Tyler Rogers today, as of course he is the man received in this 3-for-1 deal for the New York Mets. Plenty to go over for him, but first let's talk about what San Francisco received. The Giants got right-handed pitcher, a bullpen guy who was formerly a starter in Jose Butto. Mets of course morphed him into a bullpen arm. Right-handed pitcher Blade Tidwell, who has had some MLB experience. We'll talk about that in a bit. Formerly the Mets number 10 prospect, now the Giants number 12 according to MLB Pipeline. And outfielder Drew Gilbert, formerly New York's number 12 and now number 13 over in the Bay Area. So the Mets got Tyler Rogers. Here he is. Here are his statistics. He is a really, really good player. One of the best bullpen arms in all of baseball, and arguably the best bullpen arm on the entire trade market. 6'3", 180, a right-handed pitcher, 34 years of age, 4-3 this year with a 1.80 ERA in 53 games, 50 innings pitched, sub-1 whip, a whip in his career just above 1, ERA sub-3 in his career. He has been awesome over his 7 MLB seasons. We'll dive into that in just a bit. And he has a favorable contract for the rest of the year. 1 year, $5.25 million signed with the Giants to avoid arbitration here in 2025. So he is a free agent in 2026, but the Mets are paying less than $1.7 million for the remainder of Tyler Rogers' season, which is awesome. You got him really, really cheap. And the only downside is that he is a free agent next year. So you gave up a lot for what could be a rental. If the Mets do not re-sign the 34-year-old, who will be about 35 by the time the season is over, and by the time you hit next season, Rogers will be 35 years of age. If they do not extend him, you traded all of these guys for someone that you got for 2 months, plus however long the Mets last in the postseason, which, if they go and win the World Series, if you sign him or not, doesn't matter. You did your job. You got that bullpen arm that you needed to go win the World Series. The Mets also got another bullpen arm, as you guys know, if you're following Mets Digest, in Ryan Helsley. We got a reaction video coming on that in just a little bit. But let's go ahead and take a look at Rogers' career stats. Now, first thing that I want to mention, he has playoff experience. It was in 2021. He's 1-0 in 4 games, 3 1/3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout, a 0 ERA, but a 1.0 whip. As for the career numbers, you see them all on your screen. He's led the league in games in both 2020 and 2021, which is great. He's a good strikeout to walk guy. I mean, look at that. 9.5 strikeout to walk this year. He barely walks any batters. He gives up home runs at a similar rate as walks, which is absolutely incredible and great for a Jeremy Hefner guy. Jeremy Hefner struggles with walks. His pitching staff tends to always struggle with walks. That's always a Met theme when it comes to pitching, but Tyler Rogers is the exact opposite, so hopefully he continues that trend of throwing a lot of strikes. He gets not too many strikeouts, honestly. He's not a big strikeout guy, but his strikeout to walk rate is one of the best in all of Major League Baseball, especially amongst relievers, solely because he doesn't walk batters, which is awesome and makes me personally really, really happy. I love that. I absolutely hate walks, so I'm super glad that he is a big strikeout, not a big strikeout guy, but rather a very small walk guy. Here are the advanced metrics. As you can tell, the walk rate is in the 99th percentile. He doesn't walk people. Just 2% of batters that he faces, he walks. He avoids the barrel in the 100th percentile. Hard hit is in the 95th, meaning he avoids hard hit baseballs. And his ground ball rate is phenomenal as well. Remember how big that ground ball rate is. We talk David Peterson all the time. Why is he so successful? Why was he an all-star this year? He is also in the 90 plus percentile in ground ball rates. He gets a ton of ground balls. That is good. That means you don't give up base runners. If you hit the ball on the ground, double plays happen. It's a lot easier to make a play than if the ball's hit in the air and it's potentially a home run. So really, really good. Low walks, high ground balls. He's exactly my type of pitcher, the type of pitcher that I want on my team. He also does not give up hard exit velocity whatsoever, which is great because his fastball, and it makes sense because his fastball velocity is very, very low. In fact, it's in the first percentile. He does not throw hard whatsoever. Not even close. I mean, he throws sub 90 by a good margin. The average exit velocity, though, is just above his fastball velocity. Again, you don't have to throw hard to be a successful major league pitcher, and Tyler Rogers is the perfect example of that. Here's the arsenal. He comes in with two pitches, sinker or slider, similar to Edwin Diaz. He's got two pitches, one or the other, and it seems as if hitters cannot guess it. He gets a good whiff rate on both. They can't guess it. They can't hit it, which is why I really, really like Tyler Rogers. And this is the last reason why I like him. Look at how funky that rotation is. Look at how funky that windup is. You saw the other picture in the intro video where his arm is basically like up here, give or take, where he's basically at a 45 degree, maybe even like a 90 degree angle with his arm, and he just comes all the way down. He's the perfect definition of a submarine pitcher, and he's even more than a submarine pitcher. Look at this pitch. Look at this picture right here. He is somebody that almost touches the dirt every single time he releases the ball with his arm. That is A, super, super cool to watch. B, it's so funky, so hitters just cannot hit it, and that's why he gets away with not throwing a hard fastball, and that's why he's still one of the best relievers in baseball. So overall, phenomenal pickup from David Stearns. I absolutely love it. But fans are saying this is an overpay, and I'll be honest, yes, that was my original reaction. I saw this trade. Unfortunately, I couldn't film a video last night. I was busy with other work, but I got there, I looked at the video, I looked at the reaction, I looked at everything, and I was like, yeah, the Mets gave up a lot here, but it's fine because, and we got a video coming on that later today. If the Mets don't make any more deals, even if they do, I got a trade reaction video coming out for you later tonight, post 6 o'clock once the trade deadline is done. We'll go over the entire trade deadline, but when you pair him with Ryan Helsley, this deal makes a ton of sense, and the Mets really didn't give up too much for three phenomenal relievers in Soto, Helsley, and Rogers. But this is the Tyler Rogers video, so let's focus on that first. Starting off with Jose Butto, he is the first guy that was mentioned as someone that the Mets gave up. 3-2, 364 ERA in 34 games, 47 innings. He does have a save, and a whip way above 1.3, nearing 1.4, which is worse than his career whip and his career ERA. He's simply just not having the best of seasons, but he'll be a solid relief option for the Giants, and since he formerly has starting pitcher experience, they can bring him back possibly to that starting pitcher spot. 15 games started, of course, in his MLB career with the Mets. He did spend 9 seasons over here in New York, so props to you, Jose. We really appreciate all that you've done, but he is, of course, now with the Giants, who will either be used as a bullpen arm or a starter. As for the prospects we gave up, let's start it off with Blade Tidwell. He reports to AAA for the San Francisco Giants, and besides Butto, he is the only player that this entire trade deadline, Stearns, to this point that I'm filming, 10:13 in the morning, that Stearns has dealt with MLB experience. 4 games, 2 starts, 1-1 record, a 9 ERA in 15 innings, just 10 strikeouts, 344 batting average against, and a 2.20 whip. Obviously not very good in his starts in the MLB. He still needs seasoning down there in the minor leagues, but here he is, 24 years of age. He's a big guy at 6'4", 207, double righty, former second-round pick back in 2022 from the Mets. ETA to come up this year, of course he has. Fastball grade 55, curveball 40, slider at 60, which means his slider is pretty good. Changeup 45, cutter 50, control 45 for an overall 45 prospect. So let's turn it over to MLB.com. They got you covered with the prospect outlook. Tidwell overcame shoulder issues as a draft-eligible sophomore at Tennessee in 2022 to become a Mets second-rounder who signed for above slot at a $1.85 million bonus. He climbed steadily through New York's system until getting rocked in AAA in 2024, though he recovered to pitch better there this year and made his big league debut in May. The Giants acquired him as part of a package for Tyler Rogers. 2 months later, of course, that was yesterday. To go on, Tidwell displayed good four-seam fastball velocity in the 94 to 96 mile an hour range, topping out at 98 with decent riding action, but lefties in particular feasted on the pitch, slugging 606 against it at AAA. The 6'4" right-hander also worked in a 92 to 94 sinker with almost double the arm side movement to give another fastball look. He works with a variety of glove side offerings between an 80 mile an hour and 83 mile an hour sweeper, 82 to 84 traditional slider, and a sharper 87 to 89 cutter. The sweeper, averaging around 15 inches of break, was a menace against righties. Tidwell also mixed in an occasional 81 to 84 changeup and upper 70s curveball. So a lot of pitches from Blade Tidwell, as there have been mentions that he might be better in the bullpen. So let's turn it here to the last part of the outlook. The former Volunteer struggled to adapt to his major league ball and more advanced hitters at the minors top level, and his 13.7% walk rate, really bad, was 7th highest in AAA with a minimum of 80 innings pitched. Some evaluators believe Tidwell may have been getting too fine in his location and that he needs to trust his stuff will play in the zone more often. If he still can't tame control woes, his stuff would certainly play in a shorter relief setting. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. He throws so many pitches. I mean, this entire screen that you see here is solely about the amount of pitches that he throws, the different pitches that he throws. So he would definitely be good out of the bullpen. He'd probably keep hitters way off balance because he just has so many different pitches to turn to. So with that, let's turn it over to the other prospect that the Mets gave up in Drew Gilbert. A double lefty, also 24, short at 5'9", 195, but also a first-round pick in 2022, back with the Astros. ETA this year in 2025. He is yet to make his MLB debut. And yes, for those of you wondering, he was teammates with Blade Tidwell for 2 seasons as a Volunteer. As let's turn it back to the outlook. They say, quote, Gilbert was a fiery performer for a dominant Tennessee team in 2022 and signed with the Astros for $2.5 million, which is crazy because that is near how much Tidwell signed. 1.85, who was a second-round pick, and now 2.5 as a first-round pick, as the 28th overall pick that July. He has been traded twice since, to the Mets in the Justin Verlander deal, I was going to get to this in a second, in July 2023, and to the Giants in the Tyler Rogers swap 2 years later. Elbow and hamstring injuries in his first 2 full pro seasons have slowed his development. So Gilbert was the bigger prospect when it came to him and Ryan Clifford, although Clifford has started to become even bigger since. It was usually Gilbert to start. He was the bigger name, although Clifford has jumped him as the bigger name, at least of late. But Gilbert and Clifford, of course, were brought over for an aging, contract-expiring Justin Verlander when the Mets were sellers at the 2023 trade deadline. To move on with the prospect outlook, MLB.com says, quote, the former Volunteer star was defined by his kinetic play in the field before last season, but many who saw him thought he looked like he was tamping down on the energy coming off the hamstring. He still managed to strike zone fairly well, but struggled making consistent contact against sliders and changeups. Without his typical burst, his exit velocities weren't particularly strong either, but with his slightly open stance and raised leg load, he could still lift and pull as well as anyone in AAA. Now, to wrap up this outlook, they say, quote, Gilbert has solid speed and an aggressive nature on the base paths. He's capable of playing anywhere in the outfield with his quickness and instincts, allowing him to get the job done in center field. He ran his fastball up to 93 in sporadic pitching appearances in college and continues to demonstrate plus arm strength. So overall, a solid prospect. The Mets did give up 2 decent prospects, even though Tidwell does not have a lot of good MLB experience, and of course a solid pitcher in Jose Butto. And again, I won't sugarcoat it. They gave up a lot. They probably overpaid for Rodgers, but I don't mind it as you pair it with the Helsley deal. We'll go over that in just a little bit. Here are the trade grades according to The Atlantic. The Mets get an A, the Giants get a B+. CBS Sports gives the Mets a B, the Giants a B-. Yahoo Sports says Mets get an A, Giants get a B+. Same thing as The Athletic. As for ESPN, they are just super biased and hate New York. I don't even want to include this. C+ for the Mets and A- for the Giants. They're biased. We all know that. They hate us. Whatever. So let's quickly move on to look at what this bullpen looks like right now. Yes, Tyler Rogers is in here because I'll discuss this as well in rather Ryan Helsley. I'll talk about this in the Helsley reaction video as well. But look at the Met current bullpen. Rico Garcia and Chris Davinsky. Then you get all of your veterans. Reed Garrett, Ryan Stanek, Gregory Soto, Brooks Raley, Tyler Rogers, Helsley, and Edwin Diaz. That is really, really good. That is one of the best bullpens in all of baseball, which is why I don't mind the Rogers deal. Now, originally, when Helsley was not a part of this bullpen as the other setup man, I didn't love it as much because I did agree that the Mets gave up too much. But now that you have Helsley as well, the bullpen is exactly what you want it to be, and I think the bullpen is as good as it could be going for a World Series push here in 2025. Stay tuned for that Ryan Helsley video as well. We'll go over what the Met bullpen could look like in the playoffs in addition to the regular season. So definitely a longer video today, as that was my reaction to the Tyler Rogers deal. Again, originally I said they overpaid. I still agree that they gave up a little bit too much, but that's the way the reliever market works this year. It is a high price to go get a good reliever, and the Mets have gotten 3 of them now. The third reaction video coming soon from me about Ryan Helsley, but unfortunately that's all the time I have for you in this Tyler Rogers video. Thank you so much as always for watching. Drop your comments down below. Did we give up too much? Do you like the deal overall? What are your thoughts on it before the Helsley deal and then after the Helsley deal? Give me all your thoughts down below. Thank you so much as always for watching, and let's go Mets!